Hey Riley, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing great.
Trying to get Deb in here. Just a second.
Eric should be joining shortly.
Awesome. Thanks everybody for waiting. We're just waiting on Eric, and then I need
Gavin?
Deb to get in here.
Hey, Gavin, can you call Eric?
There he is. I think we're just waiting on Deb. She's getting logged in using her RxHealing email. Oh, she says she joined as Rx Wound. Deb, can you just go ahead and raise your hand and I can have broker Chris let you in? Thanks.
We got our world-class moderator, Riley, taking care of business.
You know it.
Always.
There's Deb.
There we go. Hey, Deb.
There we are. Hi, guys.
I didn't know I was going to have an all-star cast on here with me. What is this? What's up, everybody? I could not be happier. So this is, welcome, everybody. My name is Eric Langford. I'm the CEO of RxHealing, and I'm so pleasantly surprised to have all these people with me. I thought it was just going to be me and Deb, maybe a couple of staff. But I got some of my favorite team leaders here. This is the last BluePrint call of the year. Believe it or not, the next 2 Wednesdays are holidays. We got Christmas Eve, then we got New Year's. So welcome to the last BluePrint call of the year. For anybody that's new, we have a very special business overview of the greatest business sales opportunity in the world that you're getting ready to see. That's no exaggeration. Let me give you a couple of quick highlights to get you excited to listen for the next half hour or so. There is no other business in the world that is centered around serving people and saving lives as much as we are. And then there's no other sales organization in the world that can produce 6- and 7-figure monthly net income earners in the world like we do and have done multiple times. Not to mention, we are in our infancy stage. This was our 2nd full year and 3rd technical year in business. We will be $1 billion company next year. We are close to half of that this year, and we have phenomenal partnerships with decision makers and policy makers in DC, and we are strengthening those relationships so that we can always make sure our reps are at the forefront of knowledge so that we can properly educate our providers that are out there in the field serving our patients. We like to call them our patients. Of course, they're not. But we have a direct impact in helping those lives get saved because of our educational marketing efforts towards our providers, our pharmacies, our doctors, our prescribers, our nurses. Because of that effort, because of the sales effort that you will put forward as a rep with us, you are indirectly and directly saving lives. So there's no better feeling than being able to wake up and say, because of the work I did yesterday, somebody's life was saved today. There's not a number that you can put on that, but I'm a firm advocate, and you'll hear me say time and time again, that the more people that you serve, the more people you save, the more people you help, the more feet you wash like Jesus did, the more people you take care of, the more money you should make. Absolutely. I'm not a fan of like the mega church, wealth type of crap. Like, I don't believe that because you go give 10 grand, you're going to become a millionaire. I don't think that Jesus supports that type of mindset. I got mama here. We call her RX mama. She raised me right to just be a good person, love people, and treat others the way I want to be treated. And, that doesn't always directly result in wealth, but it just so happens that here it does. So I'm going to go through that business plan and how exactly that works and how all these amazing people on this call. Deb, you can put your hand down, but thank you so much for being here. You look like you're just really anxious to talk with the hand raised the whole time. Like, call on me. Deb is going to be my co-host today. She was scheduled to be the host. Thanks for letting me butt in, Deb. I appreciate it.
It's all good.
She was scheduled to be the host today, but I wanted to kick off and end the new year with all of you together. I should say end the old year with all of you together. So let me pull up my PowerPoint, and while I'm doing that, I actually have a fun, exciting announcement for you all. Let me share my screen. Okay. So this is our blueprint call. So welcome to the call. We are going to focus on, let me skip through a couple slides here. We are going to get straight to our different product categories. The reason I wanted to skip those slides, I can get back to them actually at the end of the call, introduce our team and whatnot. But I wanted to get straight to an exciting announcement that's just fresh in my mind, because if you're a new person and you're looking at this as a new business opportunity, I'd want to hear the results right away. I would want to say, hey, grab my attention with something that is interesting and is going to make me want to stick around. So the results that our reps are getting in the field are phenomenal. And the main focus that we're focusing on right now is the fourth category here, RX remote care. And the reason is we started at RX graphs in the upper right-hand corner. And Brandon, if you could have Gavin change that to RX wound. We have changed that product category to our old name, which is RX wound, which encompasses skin grafts and other wound care products. So we have created the old name of our company, RX wound, which incorporated skin grafts only. So now we're a full service wound care service provider, meaning we're selling all of the devices and products around wound care, not just skin grafts. So that is one of the core benefits of working with us, is that we are all encompassing service oriented, like I talked about at the beginning of this call, to make sure that our providers are served totally, meaning it's a one-stop shop for them. And then not only that, but we go above and beyond with these providers, leveraging our relationships in DC to make sure that we're educating these providers about up and coming changes, what are called LCDs, local coverage determinations, issued by Medicare, letting providers know what changes are coming, what's going to be covered, what's not. We don't want to sell a provider a $100,000 graft come January 1 and charge them $100,000 when Medicare is only going to reimburse $1,000 for it. If they are not properly informed of that, guess who they're going to be pissed off at? The person that sold it to them. So we not only service them from before the sale, but during the sale, meaning while they are taking care of that patient, we provide them with education and support. And then after they treat that patient, as in making sure that they are protected from any audits and clawbacks to make sure that their documentation is pristine and making sure that they have training in place. And I'm going to preview a little bit of our training that's going to launch with our team January 8th. So that's a little tidbit for all of you that are currently with us. We have two major platforms launching January 8th, both HubSpot and Lightspeed VT, that we're going to be doing training on, which is going to be the first Thursday of 2026. It's going to be our first healing, education, and advanced leadership call at 4 o'clock Eastern time. So back to remote care. We started off doing the RX grafts and skin grafts the first couple of years, but we found out at the beginning of this year, thanks to our relationships in DC, we found out before anybody else knew that some changes were brewing and that some reimbursements were going to change. And if we only sold skin grafts, we would be out of business. A lot of skin graft companies in the coming years, especially distributors and salespeople, will be looking for other jobs because they didn't do what we did, which was take this entire year to prepare for the inevitable changes. And what we did was we found some collaborative providers that were willing to offer remote care on a turnkey system to pharmacists, physical therapists, chiropractors, and any prescriber. A prescriber is a nurse practitioner, a DO, an MD, etc. Anybody that can prescribe. So we started expanding our product base to prepare for these inevitable changes before anybody else knew that these changes were happening. In fact, Brandon is going to pull up a clip, not right now on the spot. Don't worry, Brandon. I'm not gonna. But he's going to put together a clip in a video that we just filmed yesterday together at my home office. And the clip is going to show, and we got to timestamp it, Brandon, so people don't think we're lying. Well, I think I mentioned the date in the recording.
You do. Yeah.
And, I say, hey, look, there's going to be was it a New York Times article? Brandon, do you remember?
Yep, it was a New York Times article.
I say, hey, look, there's going to be a New York Times article coming out on this date. There's going to be an LCD change that's going to happen on this date. I think there's one other thing that I mentioned that I knew was going to happen. I'm not prophetic by any means. I know I talk about my love for Jesus, but by no means am I prophetic or have the gift of prophecy. We just happen to know the people that are making these changes. So I was able to educate our reps and educate our providers before the changes happened so that they could prepare. And we were right. Those changes actually came to fruition. So we added remote care for one of two reasons. One, so that we could stay in business. That's important. Two, because Medicare is heavily pushing preventative care, not just after the fact care. After somebody gets hurt, they need a skin graft. But remote care is about preventing the overutilization of urgent cares and emergency rooms and preventing sickness and illness, or at least preventing the onset of it and delaying the inevitability by giving that patient some more time to be healthy, by giving them a better quality of life. And Medicare is heavily endorsing this preventative treatment, which falls under remote care. So while they are doing things like reducing the reimbursement of skin grafts, they're actually heavily investing in increasing the reimbursement to remote care. So we have decades of at least runway with remote care, because I don't think there's going to be any time that Medicare is ever going to say, you know what, let's stop helping patients prevent, how do I say this? Let's stop helping them prevent, but why am I getting tongue tied here? We don't want to help them prevent getting sick anymore. That doesn't sound right, but you know what I'm trying to say. That's never going to happen. And so we feel like since we are aligned with what Medicare wants us to promote, that we're in good hands. And not only does remote care have a long runway, but it's also, as a salesperson, it pays you very well. The average account pays about $5,000 or $6,000 per month for your marketing and educational efforts. And it's a flat rate fee set in advance that you get paid for your education and marketing efforts. And again, that's between $5,000 and $6,000 per month per account that you onboard. It's a very compliant structure that we've put together for you all. And yes, if you're doing the math, if you go sign up one account a month, after a year, that's over $500,000 a year income. Now, I actually haven't added up all the millionaires that we created this year, but it was more than last year. We had 3 last year in our first full year. So can you become a millionaire here? Absolutely. Are you working with the most compliant, driven, focused sales organization that's working on making sure patients are taken care of? It's done medically necessary, that we're compliant in the way that we pay, and that we're connected to folks like Dr. Oz and RFK and DC? The answer to that is also yes. Do we invest more money than any other company in your training and your education and the services that we offer and all of our back office staff? The answer is a resounding yes, and we're going to show you that on this call as well. So there is no better sales organization. I've been doing this for 15 years. building sales organizations. I've looked at insurance. I've looked at real estate. I've looked at silly MLMs where you sell vitamins to your friends and family members. This is none of those things, to be crystal clear. You can build a sales organization here, but the difference is you can go out and you can sell our products to providers that use them on patients, and you can create a phenomenal residual income just based on your own production. If you would like to do what I call the most profitable thing in the world, the most profitable thing in the world is if you can inspire someone else to take action, if you can duplicate your hours, that is the most profitable thing you can do in the world. But imagine you go out and you can't make a sale that day for one reason or another, but you have folks on your team that you're educating and training to make sales to other providers, which is not only exponentially increasing your chance of helping more people, more patients, but it's also increasing your chance of making sure on a commission-only type of business to make sure you get a check each month. So I would want to make sure for me and my family that my bills are always paid. And I have a higher chance of that happening with more people on my team versus just me. We support both, absolutely. And I just want to be crystal clear that this is not an MLM organization. We also sell medical devices. We also sell exosomes, both of them life-saving, phenomenal categories, but we are going to focus more on remote care today. Speaking of which, go straight into devices. How funny is that? Let me go back to this page because I do want to focus on remote care for a second, and then I'll talk about that device. I want to give a shout out. Mickey, are you on here? Mickey Cruz? Unmute for me. Thought I saw him, did I not?
I think he should be here. Mickey?
Hey, Eric.
Hey, Mickey, you've got a guy on your team. Is it Roha Musa? Is that how you say it?
It's a lady, but yes, Roha.
Hey, a guy. I'm just saying, like, hey, man, you know.
Hey, yeah.
That it's technically, you know, biologically a male. No, I'm kidding. I totally meant a guy. I'm sorry, Roha. But congratulations. I want to talk about, you know, none of this matters if somebody gets on here and it's like, oh, well, you know, hardly anybody's ever successful there, blah, 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 or it takes forever to get results. Roha Musa went out and she found a pharmacy that just got their landing page 6 days ago, December 11th. We had our staff look into this today. December 11th got their landing page. Now, another team leader can vouch for this, that we contacted one of the largest pharmacy chains in the country, one of them. You know, they had like 98 locations. So not ginormous, not a CVS by any means, but not small either. The average community pharmacy group has between 2 and 3 pharmacies. So 98 locations, by no means small. And they only had 20 patients at each location onboarded for MTM. That's medication therapeutic management. We were shocked by this. We're like, we thought the numbers were going to be a lot higher. Turns out they are a lot higher for us and the way that we do our marketing. Within 6 days, Roha's account, Mickey, has got 30 patients already onboarded.
That's
6
awesome.
days. Yeah. So our system is working. So congratulations to Roha in getting her account set up. But then, you know, I by no means am trying to take away the credibility and appreciation for Roha, but then an equally a big kudos to our team and back office staff, which are the ones who put together these landing pages and the marketing for your reps to be successful in the field. So it's thanks to Gavin and Brandon and the rest of our back office staff for putting together that phenomenal landing page and marketing, which is the reason that those patients got onboarded. So congrats to all of you. So
Thank
this,
you for putting that team together, Eric. I was getting some emails back on the landing pages being set up as late as 10 p.m. at night. So thank you for all the extra hard work that went into that.
yeah, our team is nothing but all-stars. So in fact, to show you what all-stars they are, and to show you the let me just throw out 2 quick brags. First brag is going to be, we were on a podcast with Brad Lee last Friday. Our entire headquarters flew out there as a staff-only meeting, and didn't want any team leaders to feel left out by that. It was just a camaraderie time with me and the staff, and we did a podcast with Brad Lee And this guy's got millions of followers, tens of thousands of salespeople that work for him. And you guys are all going to see this podcast. He said it's going to drop this week, but I think he was being a little ambitious because when I actually spoke to his staff who actually edits the podcast, they were like, there's no way. So we'll see when it actually drops. But whenever that podcast does drop, you'll see at the beginning of the podcast, he's talking to me. He's like, Eric, what do you do? How do you do it? What are the results your people are getting? We go through that, and he's like, no way. And he says, okay, well, what's the link that people need to go to get set up? And he goes, I want a link for myself because I want to be a part of your organization. I want the people to go underneath me. He was like, no, I'm just kidding. What do they go to? So it's RxHealing.com/onboarding. For anybody that's new listening to this call, that's the link you need to go to at the end of this call. And you need to make sure you get the 6-digit recruiter ID of the person that invited you onto this call for doing that part I talked about at the beginning of this call, which is building a team. And you're going to be a part of a great organization where you've got a sales support rep and team leader and other folks that are going to help you be successful in this business. I gave out the generic link, and it wasn't more than halfway through the podcast, he completely changed his tune, and he said, no, I'm signing up with RxHealing. And he asked for his own specific link on the call so that he can recruit all of his people into this business as well. And just so you know, he said that he has over 8 businesses that he owns. And he says those combined, he doesn't make as much money in 1 month as our top rep. Insane. So he's very excited about joining this. And then the second quick brag, if that's not even really a brag, that was just a matter of fact. This is more of a brag. Brian Tracy, for anybody who is business savvy enough or reads leadership books or knows about motivational speakers, will know the name Brian Tracy. You'll know the book Eat That Frog. And he only does this once or twice a year. And I was the second pick this year at the end of the year to co-author a book with him. So it'll be my first book ever, and it'll be a book for helping new reps next year learn what it means to build a business. And whether you are a personal producer or whether you want to grow a team, either way, when you are 1099 and in commission only, make no mistake, you are building a business. You either own the business or the business owns you. And I'm going to teach you how to make sure that you own the business. And Brian Tracy was so impressed with our growth and scaling and our heart. He said it was more important, not just the scaling and the numbers that we're running, but he said that the way you're running it with integrity and not cutting any corners is what he was more impressed by. And believe me, they looked into us thoroughly. They're not going to put Brian Tracy's name with some Joe Schmo with a shady background. So I think about the shadiest thing I've got in my background is I ran a dog-friendly movie theater where I let some mangy pups inside and watch movies with me. So that was a lot of fun until stupid COVID shut it down. But anyhow, we've got if somebody looks at this business and they say, is it legit? That's not a question anymore. We have too many stories, too many success stories, and too many folks of high caliber that now support and endorse us for that to be a question any longer. So our focus is remote care, but let me show you some of the cool stuff that we sell as well. And then we'll jump into that a little bit more. So our device is this really cool vibration powered debridement tool. And all of this stuff is great, but Brandon, let's make sure that we add on here that the reason that it's so exciting that we sell this device is because I want to make sure if I am going to put myself in a position to be responsible for a salesperson's success, then I got to send you into the field with something that you have no competition. I want to make sure I set you up to be successful. So we need to add that in here, Brandon, that one of the most important things is making sure that when a rep walks in, nobody else sells this, guys. This is in no doctor's hands. The closest device that's even remotely close to this in price range is around 50 grand. Guess what we sell this for? $400. It's like, it doesn't compare. So when you walk into a doctor's office that does any type of wound care and you show them this debridement tool, and we'll send you through training on how to use this, and you can even order your own demo device. So when you're with a doctor, you can show how it works on an orange. But the bottom line is when they see this is there's nothing that compares to this. And it is extremely effective. And in fact, some patients have reported that it tickles. So the closest thing on the opposite end of the spectrum, the cheaper spectrum that this compares to, would be a simple scalpel. a razor blade, which is painful, and patients hate it. So when you got to cut away dead necrotic tissue and a patient has to endure that, they would much rather endure this that just vibrates and almost tickles the patient and is highly effective and is reimbursed by insurance. So this gives you a competitive advantage as a rep in the field because there is no competition to this tool. And it is so new that it is in basically no doctor's hands. We are the largest distributor for this tool, and we have made no dent in the market whatsoever. So this is a great tool for you as a rep to get your foot in the door whenever every other rep is just selling skin grafts. All of our competitors, they're just selling skin grafts. So when they get out to the field, the doctor's going to have a stack of 10 other skin graft companies that were in there that week. So when the doctor says, what sets you apart? Let me show you this device real quick. Don't even talk about grafts. Let me show you this device on how you can have a safer, more effective, more efficient debridement process covered by insurance that is extremely cost effective. You pull out your orange, you pull out your Exonics device, and you are going to wow them every single time. And then, Deb, can you mute for me?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's all good. So then after you've wowed them with this Exonics device, you're going to be able to say, hey, by the way, we're a one-stop shop. You can order everything all in one place. We have all of these grafts. We have this really cool medical device. And then on top of that, we have these amazing exosomes. If it's not on here, yeah, I'm not seeing it. So let's also, Brandon, if you're taking notes, let's also add that this is the only exosome that's currently going down the 351A drug pathway. The benefit of that is credibility for providers. If providers are injecting exosomes right now that are not the ones that we sell, then unfortunately they are at risk, according to our manufacturer, that we are a distributor for. Again, if anybody is new to this business, if you're wondering who RxHealing is, think of us as the world's best, most lucrative drop shipper. We go out and we sell doctors on using products that we don't make, we don't manufacture. We go get contracts with manufacturers and we get the highest contracts possible, way higher than you could get trying to go to the manufacturer directly, just because of the volume that we do. And then we pass on that high contract to you as a sales rep. So one of the other largest benefits, Brandon, let's make a note of that as well to throw in here. One of the other major benefits of being a sales rep at RxHealing is you get to leverage our volume as a whole to get a very large contract that you otherwise wouldn't be able to get on your own with these manufacturers. This product is one of those products that is not only life-saving. Go to ChatGPT and type in MSC exosomes and then type in literally any illness, any disease, and ask how MSC exosomes helps with that specific ailment, and your mind will literally be blown. In fact, I'm sure Gavin doesn't mind me talking about this. We are currently working on, is Gavin on here? Is he on? Can you unmute?
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here.
On here? Hey, Gavin, do you mind sharing what happened with you when you got hurt, your accident?
Yeah, I broke my neck racing motocross when I was 14 years old, and I bruised and stretched my spinal cord, and now I'm a quadriplegic.
Mm-hmm. And what does that do to your hand motor function?
Yeah, I have like very little hand function. So yeah, we're gonna.
So I wouldn't throw this out, Gavin. Thanks for sharing that. I wouldn't throw this out there on a national call that's being recorded if I wasn't fully confident that we can reverse all of that. So for Christmas, what we're doing for Gavin is we're getting him exosomes for his hands at first to help restore the function in his hands, and then we're going to go to the rest of his body. Exosomes have been shown to reverse and heal any damaged cells in the body, and that includes nerve cells. So it's absolutely amazing what these can do. I've actually got a meeting literally today with a guy named Josh to go over a few things about exosomes and ordering them direct from the manufacturer. For any reps listening, I'm sure that's music to your ears. I basically gave them an ultimatum saying that the guy that we had been ordering from is going to be no longer our point of contact because we've been, the service has been lacking there. So I'm fighting for that for all of us to be working directly with the manufacturer and to talk about giving Gavin his Christmas treatment for his hands. So fired up for you, Gavin. Anyhow, exosomes, they're awesome. And I just highly recommend you go to ChatGPT to check them out for yourself. Graphs. We started out with graphs in 2023. I actually started selling them in 2022, but the type of leader I am is one that leads from doing it first. Ask people to do things that I don't first do. So I started selling in 2022, and I would go out to the doctor. Mark, are you on here, Sergat? I just can't see everybody. Can you unmute for me? Mark, you guys need to unmute faster.
I think his sound's kind of messing up a little bit. It says that he's unmuted, but we can't hear him.
Mark, we can hear you.
I switched my microphone. How's that better?
There he is.
Hey.
For a guy that made 3.2 this year, I expect muting to be undone faster, please. Mr. Mark Sargot, let's brag on him really quick. He may not know how to mute himself, but the dude knows how to sell some products. So this guy worked at Medtronic. Whenever I say the #1 medical sales organization in the world, you pulled me aside and you're like, well, not technically this or that. What is Medtronic?
It's the #1 medical device company in the world. Yeah,
It is. I thought you pulled me aside and you're like, Eric, no, it's not really, or something like that.
Yeah, So I mean, I think you're talking about the #1.
Oh,
that was me in my division. Yes.
Yeah, you're the #1 in your division. Got it.
Yep.
But you were capped out at $300,000 a year.
Pretty much, yeah. It was, that was the well-oiled machine. Medtronic, great company, but they have their quota system and they have their well-oiled machine. So to make a lot more than $300K.
Yeah, great company, but their compensation plan sucks. So you came in your first year with us and you did 2.1 million net. Correct?
Yeah, I mean, that's those were the commissions. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And you didn't have any, like, there's no cost to join us. There's no cost for leads. There's no cost for training, which is state of the art. That's a huge pet peeve of mine. In fact, people in insurance, people in real estate, people in this telehealth crap, they come on and say you can make $100,000 a month, but they don't tell you about the $80,000 a month you got to spend for marketing and leads. You don't have any of that cost here. In fact, we give you the leads and the marketing for free. We pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for leads that we give you for free. So we fully equip and cover that cost for our reps. So Mark's 2.1 he made last year was net. It's not like 1.8 of that was cost. So he was still only making 300. It was a true 2.1. And then what did you come out at this year? Since the next check isn't going to be until January, your income has ended for 2026. So what did you finalize with?
3.2.
3.2.
Yeah.
He added year over year. What is that? A 30% growth at an additional $1 million. So the opportunity here is just unmatched. It's unbelievable. And we've got folks, I name dropped Mark in the podcast. I think I accidentally used his full name. I actually had to call him and be like, do you want me to edit that out? You're about to get blown up.
We'll cut that.
But I recommended he leave it in. It's free marketing. And, he was agreeable. So, one of Brad Lee's questions to me was, can a regular medical sales rep come on board and sell for you guys? And I was like, well, Mark did it. And he did that with skin grafts. And the opportunity, in my opinion, based on what we've accomplished the last 2 years, the opportunity with remote care far surpasses anything we have done with skin grafts up until this point. Congratulations to everybody on this call that has had a successful career with skin grafts. but buckle in because it's about to get a lot better. And the reason is because we're about to help a lot more people. We're able to help 10, 100,000 people here or there with skin grafts. With remote care, we're helping thousands of people per account that we go out and serve and educate and market to. So it is going to be an exponential reach for us to be able to help serve and save a lot of people's lives with remote care in 2026. And we've got a phenomenal head start on anybody else because of the preparation we did in 2025. So skin grafts, they're an amazing thing. They come from a placenta, which is the protective barrier inside the womb whenever a woman is pregnant. And if she has a planned C-section, I don't know why everywhere I read it specifically says planned. I'm like, can she not donate it if it's unplanned? Because sometimes there's emergency C-sections. But the definition is for a planned C-section that a placenta is donated, that then gets dehydrated down. It's minimally manipulated, meaning that when it's dehydrated down, they use different processes that adds maybe slight radiation or this or that, but they don't add any other harmful chemicals or drugs or devices. It is an all natural product that then is cut into little bitty squares about the size of a postage stamp. I wish I had some Listerine strips on me. Oh, I do. Look at that. This is what a skin graft looks like. It's this little guy. This looks like that. Yeah. Whew. Oh, my breath smells good, but it burns. Skin grafts don't burn, luckily. They it's just a thin piece of tissue that goes onto the wound bed after it's properly been prepped. And because it's really thin like that, it just absorbs straight into the wound because the blood helps absorb it. I wish this would go away. And then it's wrapped, and that graft is placed on that wound about once a week. So the wound typically on average takes 4 to 6 weeks for it to heal up. And you, as the rep, get paid for each order. So every time that provider places an order, and then insurance pays the provider then pays the manufacturer. And then once the manufacturer gets paid, you get issued your commission. Now, commissions in this industry, they are large and they can take some time. So if that provider places a payment in January to the manufacturer, we as a company aren't getting paid until the end of February, and we issue your payment on the 3rd business day of March. So it could be a month lag time, or it could be almost a 2-month lag time if the payment was January 1. So proper expectations there for you to understand this is 1099. We are not looking for broke, desperate people. Typically, broke, desperate people cut corners, and they do illegal things and they do stupid things. They bribe people. If you bribe people, we're going to fire you. If you go incentivize a patient, we're going to fire you. We are not going to jeopardize our good name, reputation, and compliance for some rogue rep that thinks it's okay to cut corners. So we are looking for established people with integrity that are willing to do things the right way, which means you need to have a way to pay your bills until you start getting paid by us. And then once you start getting paid by us, life looks pretty good. In fact, one of my claim to fames is that if you work for us and follow our system, it'll be the best Christmas you ever had for you and your family. I promise you. And every Christmas for our reps that are consistently working, I've seen, in fact, our current reps know who Mr. Umo is. He called me while I was in Thailand for my birthday. It was one of the only phone calls I actually took. He said, Eric, you kept your promise. He said, this is going to be the best Christmas my family has ever had. They're taking some like 2-week cruise around China or something crazy like that. I was like, man, you earned it. Congratulations, dude. That man worked for over a year almost with no checks from us, just trying to figure out our business plan, and then just took off. And that dude, my dog's over here stretching next to me. That dude, his claim to fame is he got the first ever 7-figure monthly check from us. So an absolute rock star. Very proud of him and his family. So let's move on from skin grafts. Let's see what's next on here. Remote care, my favorite. So remote care and APCM. APCM is a brand new remote care program. If you don't know what remote care is, it's a way to monitor patients when they're not at the doctor's office. They go to the doctor's office once a month, or some doctors go, or some patients go once a week, depending on how sick they are. But a lot of patients only go as needed or for checkups. So for that time that they're not in the doctor's office, even if they go once a week, those other 6 days, this is a way for those doctors to monitor them, to make sure they're taking their medications, to make sure that they have access to a provider, if they're starting to feel some funny pains or have a question about their medications. We give them 24/7 access to a doctor, and it goes both ways, for us to be able to contact them or them to be able to contact our collaborative providers. So this is a program that's heavily endorsed by Medicare. Medicare pays for providers to do this system. Now, what we have found is most providers don't have the additional time, resources, or staff to be able to manage a remote care program and be available to patients 24/7. So the solution that we came up with was, well, let's get a contract with one of the country's largest collaborative provider physician groups that can be a turnkey solution where we can walk into a doctor's office and say, hey, I know you don't have the staff or the manpower to handle these programs, or I know that you're extremely optimistic that you think you can handle the workload, but let us handle it. Let our providers handle all of the consultations, all of the data, and you just review it at the end of the month to make sure that nothing is out of the norm. And they get paid a compliant flat fee from our provider group for being an extension of our provider group. They're basically a 1099 contractor of our provider group, so that they are still getting paid, but they're not having to put in all of the work. And so again, it's fair market value. It's a flat fee set in advance for specific work they're doing, extremely compliant, but they don't have to worry about the staff, the hours, and the time commitment to keep up with remote care. So we don't want to go sell remote care to a provider and them do it on their own. And then they say, turns out, Eric, you were right. It's more work than we thought it would be, so we're going to quit. And now those patients don't get access to 24/7 care anymore. So if we can set them up for success off the get-go, then we're going to do that with a turnkey system, which we have put in place. So APCM is the first program we started with this year, but now I'm very excited to say that as well, it's going to be this month, but we're going to say that we're going to launch it the first week of January. We now not only have access to APCM, but we have access to all of the remote care programs. We have the ability to send out devices to these patients for RPM at no cost to the pharmacy provider or patient. Excuse me. We have the ability to offer RTM to chiropractors and physical therapists. We have the ability to offer CCM, MTM, TCM, all the M's, all the monitoring programs. We have the opportunity to now offer through this amazing partnership with a huge collaborative provider group that will be announced by the end of this month to all of you. So APCM is where it sits right now. APCM just came out in 2025. Nobody is offering APCM outside of us, especially to pharmacies. And it is an extremely compliant model, again, that just gets access for the patients to have 24/7 access to a provider, to make sure that we can monitor their medications, to make sure that there is no overlap with providers prescribing things that other providers are also prescribing them, to make sure that the patients can report any side effects without having to go into an urgent care, because the average time that a patient can book their primary care provider is 2 to 3 weeks. And if a patient needs access to a provider now, we can give that to them through their pharmacy and other prescribers as well. So it's a phenomenal program that, again, was just launched this year in 2025. So again, it's a leg up that you as a rep have in the field to set yourself apart, to be competitive, because when you walk into a pharmacy or doctor's office, they're going to say, what is APCM? They're not going to say, hey, 10 other reps were in here talking to me about APCM alone this week. That's never going to happen for the foreseeable future. So you are set up through RxHealing for success in the field to make sure that you have a competitive advantage. I don't think that I have been talking long enough, but we need to bring Deb in anyways. Deb,
Hi there.
Deb, since we just bragged on your team leader, you are also a team leader. And I think that shows a lot of the leadership qualities in Mark, the fact that he has other leaders on his team. And I'd love if you could take a second to introduce yourself, who you're hired by, and then let's talk about you for a little second so I can shut up.
I was dragged in here kicking and screaming by Mark. No. Like Mark, I've been in the wound care industry for a long time, way before there were skin grafts. And in device sales, top reps max out at $350 a year, pretty much across the board. And that was one of the first conversations that we had, was the opportunity is there. I had looked to partner with other skin graft companies, and very quickly you get a snake whale salesperson, whatever vibe, and I just wouldn't want to partner myself with somebody like that. I met with Eric and then met him in Vegas, and in person, even larger than life. So it was it's very nice, because when I first started in wound care, I thought it was pretty straightforward. You know, you're just helping wounds heal, but that's not the case, because people don't just show up with a wound. They are incredibly sick. So while some people might come into RxHealing, maybe they came in as Rx wound and they think there's just this major shift and I don't know if I'm on board for that. And I'm here to tell you that it couldn't be farther from the truth, because if you care about wound care, I feel like it's all integrated. And so when patients come in with a wound, they have multiple chronic conditions, they're on tons of medications, and you realize that about 80 to 85% of the patients are going to heal with conservative treatment, but that 15 to 20% that don't heal, or that have the wound, I like to say the wound that keeps on, the gift that keeps on giving, because it comes and more come. But a lot of those patients don't survive their treatments. And it's not just the amputation, it's just the wound. They go septic, whatever it is, they have something wrong with their system. And everyone kind of thinks the wound care doctor says the PCP is taking care of it. The PCP thinks the wound care doc is taking care of it. People are falling through the cracks. And so as I have been here, and the evolution that I was waiting for and was so excited to see Rx wound grow from just being skin grafts to adding diagnostic tools, to adding more advanced tools for treatment, and then also adding the remote care. I think that it is the right evolution, and I'm super excited to be a part of it, because we need all of these things to not, in Eric's words, you know, it's about healing, but this isn't just about wound care, it's about human care. And I think that medicine is finally seeing that we need to find ways to support patients outside of the norms of what's been done for decades. And so I'm excited about the future, and I hope that my team sees that. I preach this a lot, where sometimes there's uncertainty, but I really think that it's not that we've gone in a new direction. I think that we're never going to get away from wound care. We're just expanding how we can offer our current providers that are working in wounds to offer more to their patients, with the evolution of how healthcare is going to change. And RxHealing's on top of this. So that's why I came, and that's why I stay.
Deb, you make a really important point that I didn't hit on, so thank you. That skin grafts, the best comparison that I was given was taking a skin graft away from a diabetic is like taking chemo away from a cancer patient. People don't understand that this is life-saving treatment that we're offering these patients. If you take a person with diabetes who doesn't have proper blood flow to their feet, and that wound isn't healing, and they don't have access to a skin graft, and then that wound, like Deb just mentioned, has an infection or develops sepsis and has to get amputated. Once that toe or foot gets amputated, they now have another wound from that amputation that's not going to heal. So one amputation leads to another amputation, which ends up leading all the way up to a below the knee amputation. Once that happens, folks have less than a year to live on average. After the first amputation, it's 5 years. So we're literally saving these patients' lives, or as I mentioned earlier, at least extending their life to give them a better quality of life so that they can get back to, one of my favorite team leaders, Nick and Whitney. They have a patient that's near and dear to my heart. The patient was able to get their dog back. She wasn't able to take care of her dog because of a wound that interfered with her not being able to be mobile. And so this is not just saving patients' lives, but it's also saving their quality of life to getting back to doing things that they love. So thank you, Deb, for sharing. Sorry I overshadowed and talked so much and just took over. But
We needed you. It's great.
But yeah, it feels good to be back on here. Let me go on to, okay, so these are all the remote care programs that I mentioned earlier that we have access to. We were just focusing on APCM because, quite frankly, the collaborative provider group we were working with, that was the only one that they had the ability to offer with their limited staff. With our, they had about 60 providers internally. Our new collaborative provider group has over 1,000 internally and an additional 24,000 that are contracted. So we have access to 25,000 providers that are able to take care of all of our patients. So that is the end of the presentation, which is perfect. We're still 10 minutes under. We set aside an hour for these calls, but they typically go between a half hour and 45 minutes. So thank you all for being here. I highly recommend you go to rxhealing.com/onboarding. If somebody could throw that in the chat, would be great. Make sure to include the 6-digit number of the person that invited you. You're not going to be able to submit the form without it. So make sure you get back with the person that invited you to this call. If you guys want a bonus, if anybody wants to stay on for a bonus, let me show you a quick preview of the training system you guys are going to get come January 8th. It's actually completely done now. It's just going through some quality control and we're finalizing some onboarding components to it. But let me show you this training. For anybody that hasn't seen this, show something else. Yeah. Where's that? Should say VT system. Here we go. Check this thing out. Deb, I know you've seen this before, right? Where'd my Deb go? She's muted. That's all right, Deb. If you hate me, you can just say that. Throw it in the chat. All right. So we'll go to, I think, Training Center. Is that right? Boom. Check this out. So one really cool thing that we're doing. So this is all the, hey, Brandon, is all the training loaded in here?
I think it's about all loaded in there. I don't want to completely confirm that.
Is it all of it? Okay.
It's about all of it. I'd say 90 to 100%.
We've got all the training for the sales reps. We've got the sales training up here, our brand training here, and then we even have training for our providers, our clinicians training on, if we click on the training here, then we pops open in some other chapters. And then when we click on this, I think we've got our Mr. Mark Surgot here, right?
Welcome to Module 1 of your comprehensive skin graft provider training. I'm Mark Surgot, and today we're diving
So we had Mark, our
deep into the critical
expert, do some training here. But the coolest part of this training that's extremely interactive, and again, this is just to show the investment that we're putting in for
documenting skin graft applications. Your language choices can mean the difference.
Self-talk a bunch, but let me see if I can't fast forward.
Not to write. Complete for wound closure.
This out.
Applied amniotic graft membrane applied to provide key documentation else.
Come on.
Also picture technique provided. Counseling on Medicare compliance
Here we
expectations.
go.
Which documentation approach is Medicare compliant?
So the coolest part about this training is as you're getting to look at Mark's amazing face and listen to him talk to you for like an hour straight. It's not an hour. I think he's talking for like 15 minutes in this. But which documentation approaches Medicare compliant? Applied amniotic graft as a protective barrier. Used graft to heal diabetic ulcer completely. Graft will cure patient's chronic wound. It is obviously not compliant to say cure. So we're going to go ahead and click on the wrong answer to see what happens.
Not quite. Remember, Medicare views graphs as barriers that support healing, never as cures that guarantee outcomes. Always use barrier-focused language to stay compliant.
So then it gives me the opportunity to answer again until I write. It explains why it changes based on how you answer. So then we're going to answer it the right way.
Excellent choice. This uses barrier language and supporting terminology that aligns with Medicare guidelines. You're protecting yourself from an audit risk.
How cool is that? So we'll stop sharing that. So there's all types of modules that we're consistently adding in there. In fact, I just talked to Chris, our chief of staff, this morning and said, hey, make sure the staff is putting together a HubSpot training to explain how to use our new CRM and how to request leads and how to manage your leads come January 8th. So we are constantly adding more training, investing in that. It is not cheap. The hours that the studio that we use out in Vegas, it is not cheap for me to fly everybody out there. And of course I put them in the nicest hotel in all Vegas. You guys need to be staying at the Flamingo from now on or something. One of those like roach motels. Then we'll just constantly be updating that for you guys. So I am joined here by Chris, my chief of staff. We've got Brandon, marketing director, creative director. I'll get your titles eventually. We've got Henry, Colton, Gavin. We got our sales support reps that you guys are going to be in tight with every single week, getting support from. We've got Cassidy manning the phones. Where's Cassidy at?
Hi.
Hi. Oh, there she is. I can see her now. See Riley over there. You guys met her at the beginning of the call. She's great at keeping us all online. We've got some of our team leaders here. Gavin, you already met Gavin. He's our brand strategist. He's the one who put together the new amazing RxHealing logo. Used to be some stupid Band-Aid. Now it's the awesome same shape of the Band-Aid, but the two hearts. If you didn't notice, it's two hearts to make the medical cross. It's awesome. When we switch from RxWound to RxHealing. You already introduced my mama. That's RX Mama, Linda there. Some of my other favorite team leaders, Alyssa and Joe Andrew. They are powerhouse when it comes to the remote care program. They also have providers onboarded for every product category we've got, but they are the true definition of leaders and duplicating. Whenever we say that the focus of the company is this, they're like on it and are absolute rock stars in helping their team, doing presentations for their team for remote care. Probably has done more presentations than anybody I know for his team. So great job to you, Joe. Brooke is actually in the waiting room right now for her little sister having a baby. Oh, nope. She is. Yeah, there she is. Look at that. Her little sister just had a baby boy today, and she's still on the call, which is awesome. Healthy baby boy was born today. We've got, I didn't see, we've got Jenny and Charles and Romina all in the Philippines. I started with Romina. She was my first staff member and is still going strong with us. Romina, thank you all for being on here as well. And I just saw Todd and Andrew, two of my other favorite team leaders. I think Andrew's been with me from day one down in Tennessee. And if you unmuted, you could hear that he's for sure from Tennessee. Love you guys.
Never.
There he is.
Never.
Never, boy. Can't tell I'm from Tennessee. Shoot. Anyways,
That's enough.
Yeah, that's enough. I had an awesome year with you guys. I can't wait to do some training with you tomorrow night. We've got a lot of cool stuff on our Heal Call. So if you're new, make sure to ask the person that invited you to get access to our Heal Call after you go through the onboarding process. For any of our current reps with us, if you haven't already noticed, thanks to Gavin, Brandon, the rest of the staff, the rxhealing.com/onboarding process is completely seamless. As in there's no manual process anymore. They fill out the onboarding form, then they immediately go to the training. After they pass the test, they immediately get the DocuSign. And then after they sign the DocuSign, they immediately get a welcome email to log into our resources page to get access to all of our training calls. And so until we launch the additional software with Lightspeed, HubSpot, and Exigo in 2026, the onboarding process is completely automated now. So great job, Brandon, Gavin, and the rest of the team for working on that. So thank you guys. Love you all. We'll see you on the Heal Call tomorrow night. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for being on.
See you.
Bye, everybody.